Sophina, a few weeks into school, how's it going?
Fantastically well, I think. Well, I think you ought to ask my teachers, my staff, and my students here. It's a wonderful school. The children are to die for. They're educated, courteous, caring, with a social conscience. When I came on the first day, I felt really welcome on the very first day. And it was, I think, a combination of what there was to do and a mutual, almost tacit realization that we had a job to do and we didn't have a lot of time to do it in, you see. And so we just had to get on with it. It was important that the children got to know me and I get to know them. So we had an assembly and shared our values and they matched. And so it was an instant bond. In one of the assemblies, I told the children I felt like I had come home. It felt like that. And so I think I settled in well on the first day. I felt at home on the first day, I think.
Is it difficult to take over a school just after Easter?
Frankly, I think it's probably the best time to take over a school. It gives you time to find your sea legs, get to know people properly. It gives you a 12-week lead on the next year and you can plan properly for the year starting September. As schools go, there's not a lot you can do to change the outcomes for the summer. And so you get to know people, you plan properly, you get to look at the resources you have in a way that if you started in September, you wouldn't. Because for the year to actually happen properly, you have to plan for it to start in a way that you can use it optimally when it does come. So I think it's an advantage to start at Easter, more so than to start in January, I'd say, or September.
One of your first challenges is the transition to an academy. Is that something you're looking forward to and celebrating?
Well, would you believe it? When I came here, my previous school was a community school. In a staunchly Labour-dominated part of London, and so I had all the prejudices that you would when you are enculturated in that environment, and so you could say at best that my views about being an academy was neutral. But I had known that the school was going to convert, and therefore all my knowledge about being an academy were rational, what were the advantages financially and so forth. It wasn't an emotional decision that felt right, because I didn't have any of those kind of atavistic views about academies then. And then I came here and saw the state of the buildings and how many books we needed and the fact that we were, making do with larger class sizes than we would normally, and thought, becoming an academy might be an opportunity. And so I researched it and was sure that it would be an opportunity for this school before I decided to buy into it. Now that I'm bought into the idea, I can see how it opens up vistas of opportunities for schools. I know that in terms of the curriculum, we have all those freedoms anyway. So to be frank, the advantages are more financial and the ability to associate, to work to empower one's community in newer ways than anything else.
We've asked this question of all the other heads, so regarding the academies, isn't it a shame that it might break down the relationship between the schools and the local education authority?
No, because schools don't exist in isolation. They have to work with each other to survive by dint of, existence. And some of the don't forget that regardless of whether a school becomes an academy or not, the local authorities still retain some statutory responsibilities, and those will continue. They'll continue to work with schools. They'll continue to have a strategic plan that for the delivery of services to children who, guess where they are in schools during the day. And so the relationship will continue to be strong. what will not happen going forward is that it is the power relations between the two. It will have to be one which is, it has to be a relationship where the needs of each school are looked at its own value, rather than in terms of what the local authority would like for the area. And I think that's the only thing that's likely to shift. But the intensity of the relationship, I don't think we shift, because the problems are still there and they're shared. So no, schools will have freedoms. Yes, schools will want to exercise those freedoms, but I think in the fullness of time, there will be limitations to those freedoms which will force schools to coalesce and cooperate to achieve things that they feel they could on their own, and will eventually find out they can't.
For a young person between the ages of 11 and 16, in your opinion, is this a good time to be in education?
Yes. It is a good time to be in education because once again we have stopped experimenting with children's lives, and we're realizing that what does make people, successful young people, is a firm foundation in the basics, which gives a very solid base for exploration of pathways that they don't know now exist. If we specialize them too early, or we direct them too soon, how do we know where we're directing them when we don't know the jobs that they're going to have, the lives that they're going to live, the technologies they're going to exploit now? By the time they get to 20, those who are 14 now, all the knowledge, well, most of it will be obsolete. So we need to go back to basics, have an educational system which emphasizes the fundamental skills, so that people are dynamic and can, like stem cells, develop into anything. That's what I think. So yeah.
And do you come here with a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, or are you going to let it flow?
There was a time when, a new head teacher came in, had their, 3-year plan, 5-year plan, stuck to it doggedly, and then started counting the failures at the end of the 5 years. We live in very uncertain times now. Financially, I do not know of many head teachers who can tell you they can see 3 years into the future. And so what one has to be is strategic in an anti-intuitive way, in a counterintuitive way, flexible, responsive, open to uncertainties, but protecting one's environment such that they are not vulnerable to the vicissitudes of the uncertainties around it. So if you ask me whether I have a 3-year plan, I'd say no. I have a 2.5-year plan and a 10-year plan. And then in between those two, there is a world that we still need to negotiate together. The staff, the students, the parents, and the community for the school.
Thank you.
Thank you.